Namaskar. Sometimes people ask me, Dada, I have doubts. I have doubts in our path, whether this spiritual path is true or not. The doubts are good, because doubts help you to choose the path of truth. It is only fools do not doubt, and fanatics. But a wise person has to doubt. That is the process of rational thinking. You have two alternatives, two choices, and then you have to find out what is good and what is bad, and what is better. Or maybe there are 10 alternatives. Still you have to find the best. After analyzing carefully and deliberating carefully. So that kind of process is a path of rationality. There is another path also. That's the path of a sentiment, path of emotion. I like something. I don't like something. So you follow with your liking and disliking. But that is a very dangerous path. Because sometimes you like something good, but sometimes not. So your path may bring you to the mountain, or it may bring you to the abyss. So it is good to have doubts. So now I would like to explain you the very inner nature of spiritual path. So you can analyze yourself and you can find whether the path is true or not. Actually, I'm sitting here in front of the pine tree and I'm getting inspired by that. It is teaching me something about the path. So I look at the pine tree. It has three parts: the roots, the stem, and the top. The spiritual path is like that. Let's start from the top. The pinnacle of the spiritual path, the ending of the spiritual path. Where does it end? Where does it lead? What is the goal? If the goal is somewhere in the material existence, that's not good enough. It has to be above the clouds. It has to see the sun. If you ask yourself, what do I want? You will find that you want happiness. And how much happiness do you want? This much, this much, this much, or how much? If you analyze, and how subtle, how sublime, how perfect should be your happiness. It should be infinitely sublime, infinitely perfect. And it should be infinite in quantity. And it should be eternal by nature. Isn't it? What is eternal? Eternal is something which does not undergo change with time. It is beyond time, place, and person. Like this stone. After 10,000 years it will crumble. It will change. It will be transmuted into something else. This stone will become earth. And then the molecules of that stone will become a plant, etc. So it is not eternal. So when our goals are in the sphere of the physicality, when we achieve them, first of all, we grow tired of them. Whatever object is, I grow tired of it. I may enjoy it for some time, but then I don't need it anymore. That is the nature of the physical objects. And even if I don't grow tired, the object will perish, because that's the nature of the physical reality, of limited reality. Same with the intellectual area. You grow tired of those concepts and those ideas, but with the spiritual realm, you never grow tired. And the spiritual realm is unlimited and infinite and eternal. So the goal of your path should be to achieve transcendental reality beyond time, space, and person. Beyond physicality, beyond intellectuality. It should be spiritual. It should be divine. Consciousness. Or God, you can say. So that's the first criteria to understand if this path is right or not. Where does it lead? What is the goal? You know, many times people, let's say, people practice meditation to achieve some supernatural power. You might heard this story that two monks, they have meditated, two brothers actually, they meditated for 15 years. Then they come together, they met, and they come to the river. And then one brother says, he wants to demonstrate his prowess. And he says, look what I have achieved in 15 years of meditation. And then, using his supernatural power, he walks upon the water. He crossed the river. Another brother, he pays, you know, the copper coin to the boatman, and he crosses the river. He said, look, 15 years of your labor costs this much, the copper coin. So that's true also. It's like, for example, supernatural powers. In yoga context, they are called vibhutis. Vibhutis means ashes. Nothing, dust. It's, you may achieve it, you may satisfy your ego, you may satisfy your pride, you may make done sign that, yeah, I have achieved, I am something, I am somebody, I am great. But that is not going to fulfill your life, is not going to give you real fulfillment, real happiness. So the goal should be above limitations. It should be eternal, infinite. Then we come to the stem. Okay? The stem is the method of movement. The goal is divine. The methods are many. The principle, the general principle is this: as you think, so you become. So if your mind shines with the thought of divine, in that process you come closer to the divine. Sarvajjive sarva samste tasmin hamso brahmyate brahmachakre prita gatmanam preritarancha matva justa statasti namrita tvamete. So many structures, so many living beings, all moving around the nucleus of cosmological order at certain distance in their respective orbits. As long as they think of themselves as of individuals, they maintain their distance. The moment they think, I am that, they become immortal. So the method of movement is to think of the divine. The more you think, the more you self-identify with the object of thinking. So there are many methods where we think: singing, prayer, and even ritual. The goal may not be the divine, but in somewhere in the corner of the mind, the divine exists. So if the divine is there, the transcendental is there, if you are somehow harboring it in your mind, then you are coming closer. The orbit becomes tighter. You come closer to your divine goal. So the truthfulness of the method is how much ideation is there, how much thinking, and how much that thinking has been refined. What is the method? Does that method methodically, logically, and scientifically leads you away from the limited objects? Your mind leads away from the limited objects and directs you to the infinite reality. If it is done purely scientifically, methodically, logically, and rationally, that is the best way. Actually, I don't believe there are many paths. I believe there is only one path, only one spiritual path. And that path is nothing but the distance between microcosm and macrocosm. So that distance you walk. You can walk it like this. You can walk it like this, like that. But the distance is the same. So rationalization of the path means removing extra miles. Instead of doing like that, you do like that. So the practice has to become refined. It has to be based on the clear, logical understanding of the principle of the movement. And the process has to teach you how to think about infinite, about transcendental, and then slowly get merged in the transcendental. So this is about the path. So basically you find the spiritual path in so many traditions. It looks different. You know, I can paint this tree in blue color, in red color, any kind of color. I can pack it in different packages, but essentially it will be the same tree. So there are many cultural contexts, temporal context, geographical context. So according to all those wrappings, the path looks different, but essentially is the same. If you understand the core principle, you will not confuse the wrappings with the candy. You know, you can have a beautiful wrappings, but inside is empty. You may wrap the nice, beautiful candy into a newspaper, but still it will be a candy. So similarly, if these three components that I'm talking about, the goal, the way, and the root, are there, that is the most tasty candy. And how it is wrapped doesn't matter so much. Okay, so now we are coming to the root. The root is a specific mentality, specific state of mind. Your mind, your body has to become a nest for the spirit. Your mind has to become tuned in such a way to perceive the divine. And how we do that? By proto-spiritual mentality. Proto-spiritual, you know, proto means like prototype. Something which is not yet a thing, but on the way. So proto-spiritual mentality means the prerequisite for spirituality. Another word to describe that is sama samaja tattva. Sama samaja tattva means principle of social equality. And opposite to sama samaja tattva is atma sukha tattva, principle of egoistic pleasure. So, you know, egoistic pleasure is like when I feel this world is for me, it's my playground. And I treat all the things here not as subjects, but as objects. You know, I cut the tree, I turn the stone, I, you know, do whatever I like with this world. This world is for my pleasure. And I can be egoistic individually, I can be egoistic collectively. I cannot kill myself, the mammoth. So the entire tribe, we will cooperate, we will discuss how we are going to kill the mammoth, and we are going to pursue, and we are going to catch, and we are going to kill, and we are going to fry and eat. So on the basis of principle of selfish pleasure, we form different groups, social groups, groups, geographical groups, nations, social groups, tightly connected with these common needs, common selfish desire and pleasure. And then sama samaja tattva is the feeling, I want that everybody should be happy. I want to build such a world where everything is in harmony and the optimal happiness is achieved for everything, for humans, animals, plants, bacteria, stones, etc. So that kind of mentality is called proto-spiritual mentality, prerequisite for spirituality. You can also say Jama Niyama principles. So why that mentality? It's like tuning the mind to perceive the divine, preparing the seed, preparing the nest where the spirit may manifest. Recently, we bought this, dish internet, the satellite internet, and then first I thought, okay, not a big thing, just put it on the floor, plug in the modem. Where is internet? Nothing is there. I try to turn, nothing is there. Then I call into the support. Hey, your internet is not working. They say, yeah, but what did you do? I say, I like this. They will say, this will never work out like this. What you have to do, you have to fix it, and you have to catch a right angle, horizontally and vertically. Okay? You read the instructions. You have to make such angle, to the north, and you have to make like 30 degrees vertical angle. So I installed, then, somehow in a crude way, with the compass, we got a proper direction, and then fine-tuning it. Fine-tuning it slowly, move, fixing some screws, and then slowly the bolts, and then slowly it moves very slowly. And then as it moves, the signal becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Then finally we caught the signal, and then it's like beep, 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 beep. Then we establish the connection. We establish the fast internet. So in a similar way, you are like a dish, you are like a satellite internet dish, but you are not installed. The mind is not properly attuned. My friend today, he asked me a question. He said, Dada, one time we were singing one mantra, and it was, the meaning of the mantra is, let everybody be happy. Let all beings of the universe be happy. And he said, I was singing, and I really, just from my heart, I started to feel that, yes, I really want that everybody, all beings, they should become happy. And I said, Dada, I felt such a bliss, the bliss came to me, such a happiness came into me. Why is like that? I said, because the divine entity, the spiritual entity, is nothing but kalyana. Kalyana means welfare for all. His desire, the desire of consciousness, is that everybody should be happy. That's the spirit. It's not even desire. I cannot say desire. Is a nature of it. Love, bliss. It's so. When you become attuned with that cosmic desire, I don't know, cosmic connection, cosmic will, when you become attuned, you start to flow in the same. Just like the two strings of the guitar, if they tuned together, you strike one, another will also vibrate. So you become like that, and you vibrate. So you feel now what God feels. That bliss that you're experiencing is a tiny fraction of that divine entity experience. You say, wow, that's good. That's good. So you see, it's like this. You tune your mind for the welfare of all, and then you catch the signal. The more fine-tuned, like first there is an instruction, okay? There is a difference between your beliefs, your principles that you accept intellectually, and your feelings, emotions, instincts. And there is a conflict between them. I want to live for the welfare of all. And then your glands, your nerves, They say, no, I want to be selfish. I want this. I have so this many desires. I don't want any discipline. I want to be free. That's what ego says. That's what uncultivated, undisciplined mind and undisciplined body says. But there are principles, and you accept those principles. You accept it as a truth. And then, this Sama Samaja Tattva, the principle of collective welfare. So you accept it. And just like a kite is flying somewhere, and the kite has no intention to come back to the person who is flying the kite. So in a similar way, there are your truths, your principles, and there is mind and the body. They want to live their free life. They don't want to come here. But slowly, slowly, you are bringing the mind and the body in unition, in unity with your principles. So then what happens? Then the bliss happens. My friends, he said, I was not thinking, I want happiness for all. I felt it. It has become not my thought, not my belief. It has become my experience. And the moment it became his experience, that very moment, he felt something higher than that. He felt that transcendental wave. It's very interesting. So, and then, back to the internet. I had to call the support. I say, what's this dish? I don't know what to do. And then the lady say, you don't be stupid. You have to do like this, like this, like this. You have to tune it that way. She gave me the instructions. Then there was a book also. According to that book, I followed the instructions. And then I got success. So that is the beliefs. That is the principles, the book. And then when you actually have the internet, that's the reality. First, you accept it on the intellectual level. You understand right and wrong. You understand that I am moving away from egoism, from selfishness, to the spirit of universalism, to the spirit of collective welfare. I discipline my mind. I discipline my body. That's the beginning, and then that's the process. You come closer and closer and closer to your principles. So the moment your thought, your words, your actions all merge in one point, you are not anymore broken, you are integral. The integrity has happened, just everything merged. That moment you are going to experience bliss, because you have become the nest for the divine. So this proto-spiritual mentality, or Sama Samaja Tattva, or principles of Yama and Niyama, moral principles of yoga, it's like a root. And you have to have very strong roots, like this pine tree. It doesn't have very good root system. When we walked in the forest, there are so many pine trees fallen. Just you can see the entire root system is uprooted. But I never saw oak uprooted, because the oak tree is like so strongly there in the ground. So when you make it a really strong point to fine-tune yourself, to really find the best, like for example, you start to follow, ahimsa, not to harm anybody with thoughts, words and actions. That's the beginning. A little bit crude, like, 30 degrees to the north, there is a satellite there. In a crude way, I tune my antenna. But then, after some time, you're like, yeah, but actually this is also harming. Also this I have to change. Okay, that's fine-tuning. You are, rotating the bolts and you are fine-tuning the dish. So the whole life we are trying to fine-tune the system of our body-mind to become the embodiment of the divine. So, when people ask me, I have doubts about the path, I ask, which part? Do you doubt the goal? That divine consciousness, infinity, eternity, transcendental realm is the goal? I say, no, I don't doubt that. Sometimes I say, yeah, I doubt. Liberation, I don't understand what's liberation. What for? I say, okay. You know, artist. At the peak experience of his life, he creates his masterpiece. It's just like you're moving like this and then whew, you come a little bit higher into a little bit different strata of existence. From one layer of reality, you come to another layer of reality. And you're just like, yeah, that's the life worth living. Poets, scientists, engineers, you just, at one point, you just come into different strata and different level. So when you make it a goal of your life, so these points, they appear more frequently, and you would like to just make it a straight line. Not this, but like that. Sometimes I ask myself, why do I have to come back to the world? Just, why can't I always enjoy that bliss? Always be in that state? Why I have to definitely come back? So that's why. Because my body-mind needs still cultivation. So it goes like this, but the points, they appear quite frequently. And then there are higher realms, and then yet higher realms, and the highest. And what is liberation? Liberation is to be liberated from limitations. So actually, everybody wants liberation. Everybody who even slightly experienced that upheaval, when he comes out of the mundanity into the first layer of spirituality, that is unforgettable. That is the whole life. I remember that. Would I like to be there? Of course I would. Would I like to go even higher? Of course I would. So that, and that is not only happiness, that is also meaning. You experience the truth, you understand, like you feel so deep. You understand, yes, this is the truth. And what other things, they are not truth, they are false. This is the truth, this is the true essence of life. So it is not only like, it's not like some people say, oh, in spirituality it means like a drug addiction or something. You take the drug, you experience, happiness or something like that. Not like that. That's coming closer to the truth. Very deep feeling, very deep kind of state of mind. So everybody wants to be liberated from the mundanity, from the limitations. And then when I explain like this, people say, yeah, actually, yeah, I did experience, yes. And you are right, Dada. Yeah, now I understand, I want liberation. So it's just people don't exactly understand what it. But the logic, if you follow this example, how much happiness, this much, this much, this much, this much, you understand, infinite and eternal. So the goal should be infinite, should be eternal, should be beyond time, space, and person, above. The path should be rational, should not be like this, it should be straight, very methodological, very logical, path where the maximized, the thought of the Supreme, the attainment of this continuous thinking of the Supreme is optimized. That kind of path we need. That it is not just, a little bit of Supreme and so much inconsequential things that doesn't lead anywhere. We want to remove those things. We don't need to waste time for that. We need to optimize our path. that maximum time we achieve this thinking, this ideation of the divine in the best way, in the best methodological way, in the best rational way. So that's the path. And then the route, tuning the dish, following the principles of yogic morality, cultivating proto-spiritual mentality, or sama samaja tattva, moving away from selfishness. Because selfishness gives you pleasure, but it does not give you happiness. Pleasure lasts very short time. Either the object is finished or you are tired of that object. So pleasure lasts very little. Happiness lasts. It has the potential to last forever. Even whatever the physical environment is, whatever your situation is objectively, in your heart, you may be happiest man, happiest woman, because you experience the bliss, because you are catching the internet. There is a signal. So if you are in the divine sphere, why do you bother about the circumstances, no? Whatever circumstances are, you are not dependent so much on circumstances. It's good that there are good circumstances, and you are working hard to, to establish a good life. But you are not dependent for happiness from the external world. You are dependent from your inner bliss. It comes from your connectedness with that. You are moving in unison with the divine. So, this is the criteria to analyze the path, whether it is true path or not. I hope it is helpful and it will dispel your doubts. Namaskar.